After everything pointing to Drake hiding something serious, he just gave us one of the most awkward, guilty-looking reactions yet. And the receipts are messy. This one's wild. And hey, remember to tap that like and subscribe right now. So here's the picture. Drake, who's been acting more avoidant than ever, bolts back to familiar faces and familiar places the moment trouble pops up. Instead of facing questions, he retreats. That's not courage. That's avoidance. And the way he reacted recently? It made him look straight up shaky. What we're watching now feels less like a normal fallout and more like a carefully choreographed distraction. Drake is circling the wagons, dodging accountability and throwing up noise to drown out the real issues. He's gone from being a visible, headline-grabbing figure to someone who runs away from the very platforms that demand answers, and instead leans on lighter, less relevant appearances to control the narrative. Whenever something big and damaging threatens to land, there's a predictable sequence. A serious headline drops, Drake goes quiet or flips the script, then something loud and annoying gets released to commandeer attention. It's a playbook we've seen before. Manufacture noise, occupy timelines, and hope the original story fades. Sound familiar? It should. Here's the part that's hard to ignore. There are solid signs Drake was in family court, and people noticed. Sketches, eyewitness timelines, people who were there. Little breadcrumbs that, if followed, point to something deeper than a run-of-the-mill scandal. If you knew you'd been spotted in court, wouldn't you be nervous too? That nervousness is the feeling Drake's recent behavior is screaming out. Right when eyes were starting to look in his direction, Aubrey dropped the Nokia video and posted a collage selfie. Classic diversion tactics. Instead of addressing what people were digging into, he flooded feeds with content meant to be louder than the story. It's petty and it reeks of damage control. The timing was no accident. Create a headline of your own and force people to talk about something else. It got even worse when industry insiders hinted the problems were more than minor. When the label suggests there are substantial issues, you don't shrug it off. That line of messaging, coming from inside the machine, suggests the stakes are higher than a typical PR headache. So what does Aubrey do? He doubles down on the distraction strategy instead of answering the tough questions. This isn't just petty beef or chart rivalry. At a certain point, the rumors and the evidence coalesce into something that could actually change how people see him, not just as an artist, but as a person. And when reputation is all you've got, being seen fleeing the hard questions is a disaster. People are watching to see whether he'll own up or keep trying to outrun the fallout. Instead of sitting down with established hip-hop interviewers who would actually press him, people like Elliott Wilson or even allies who might push real questions, Drake opts for a softer option, Bobby Alto. He's posting staged clips and laughing like everything's normal, but it comes off defensive. This is the same play that kicked off previous eras that didn't end well for him. A seemingly harmless sit-down that actually sparks more controversy than answers. Isn't that the opposite of what someone wanting clarity would do? There's a timeline of canceled appearances, last-minute switches, and weird social posts. Little things, but when you string them together, they start to point toward a pattern. Avoidance, obfuscation, and the classic PR shuffle. It's like watching someone rearrange the deck chairs while the ship's already got a leak. The motions look busy, but nothing's actually fixed. On social, he's telling fans to believe different narratives, that the reports are fake, that he's being smeared, that everything is rigged. He posted a collage that feels staged, mirror selfies, throwaway captions, the kind of content meant to humanize while also deflecting. It's a familiar tactic. Keep loyal fans comfortable enough to push back, and hope the rest of us move on. The people who were in that courtroom, they had receipts. Sketches, accounts of him walking in, notes about who was or wasn't present. These aren't random tweets. They're corroborating pieces that make it harder to dismiss the whole thing as noise. When multiple independent threads start pointing the same way, the story becomes harder to bury. At this juncture, it's not just about headlines. It's about credibility. If these bits of evidence hold, they could change how audiences view his whole catalog of claims and accomplishments. Reputation is fragile, and once a narrative switches from talent to deceptive behavior, it's really hard to steer it back. Are we watching a slow unraveling? It certainly feels that way. He's not answering questions. He's creating distractions, cozying up to softer platforms, and posting memes instead of explanations. That's not confidence, that's self-preservation. The behavior of someone trying to keep the ship upright while plugging holes with tape. You can see the fear in the PR choreography. Everything comes to a point. Either he sits down with credible interviewers, answers directly, and faces whatever fallout there is, or he keeps producing content to make people look away. Which route will he take? If he keeps choosing diversion, the suspicion only grows. If he chooses accountability, that's a first step toward repair, which seems more likely based on what we've watched so far. This saga isn't just tabloid fodder. It matters because artists occupy cultural space and influence millions. When wrongdoing is alleged, people deserve clarity. If someone builds an empire on authenticity and then avoids responsibility, that contradiction is significant. Fans should expect transparency, not staged distract and deflect tactics. You can't run forever. Noise only works for so long. At some point, the evidence stack grows heavy enough that distraction stops working. Will Kendrick's incoming track truly shift the public perception? Will the courts or industry insiders provide the clarity people are waiting for? We'll see. But right now, the playbook Drake's using looks tired, predictable, and defensive. What do you think? Is this all clever misdirection, or is Drake cornered and scrambling? Drop your take in the comments. No matter how loud the distractions get, keep an eye on the timeline and the proof. The truth has a way of coming into focus, and when it does, we'll be here to unpack it. Thanks for watching. I can't wait to see what you think. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe.